Hi everyone, Heavy Bear here. In this video, we're gonna review with Nown0 all the different technologies available in the Vital Crescent. First, we will start with the pre-palace technologies, and then post-palace. So the first pre-palace technology is an economic upgrade, which is improved woodworking. It's a really strong eco upgrade because it gives 60% um, more efficiency when you cut wood. So it's basically 3 villagers every 5 woodcutter. So it's really strong in terms of raw efficiency. But you don't have that many woodcutter early, so it's not necessarily the first text that you will research. But you definitely want to have it uh, by your 4th or 5th technology.
Yeah, yeah, I agree
Uh,
with everything.
yeah, and then we have the plow, which is kind of the same vibe as wood improved woodworking, but it's only 15% more efficiency on farming. So it's in terms of raw efficiency, it's a bit less effective because it's only 1 villager bonus for 6 farmers. But as your farm stays put compared to the trees that keeps getting furthest and furthest from your um, drop point, and also food is the most important resource of the game. It's still a pretty, let's say, uh, mandatory technology that you need to have by also your 4th or 5th technology.
Yeah, yeah, Flow is, I mean, it's the Fertile Crescent, right? It's the birth of agriculture.
Yeah,
So farming should be a priority, and it is. You really need it to do anything in the game.
yeah. And then we have Masons, which is kind of your favorite tech, I think. So I'll let
Yeah, I
you
love
talk about it.
Masons. Yeah, Masons. It because it does two different things at once, right? It gives you building speed and also clay production. So clay, it doesn't look so fancy because it's you can't build units with it, right?
Yeah,
But
that's not the best resource because you can only build buildings with it, and when you have too much clay, you're kind of in a tough spot because you cannot really spend your clay in an efficient way. So
yeah, there
it's
are no ways to spend 300 clay. Well, you can build 3 barracks, but it doesn't do anything for you unless you have 1,000 food.
yeah, but the building
So
spring is really something that you love above all.
yeah, the building speed, it helps a lot, especially for side granaries. Even if you have only a 3 on clay, the fact that you can drop one more side granary without having to worry about it. Every time you need population space, you have the clay for a house. It's I think it's a very good quality of life upgrade.
Yeah, I agree with that. And also, about side granaries. It's a really strong way of gathering food efficiently because it allows you to gather all the free food on the map, which are berry bushes and flocks that are far away from your village center. So building granaries next to them allows you to gather this food and not having to spend wood on the farms uh, as you need to do uh, later on the game.
Yeah.
Next, we have baked clay bricks, which increase your building hit points on the siege armor. So this upgrade is pretty strong, but you really don't need it early on. So what it does is basically make your base a lot safer from enemy military units and force your enemy to build siege in order to be able to kill your base because like Stinger have 5 building damage per hit, so they destroy buildings pretty fast. But when you have base clay bricks, it kind of divides the damage of slingers by 2. So you you really make your opponent, you really force your opponent to build siege and cannot kill a building without it.
Yeah, it's the same for heavy axes who have 6. Yeah, heavy axes have 6 and slingers have 5, right?
Yeah.
So if the buildings have 3 siege armor, it halves both units. It's really strong it forces the enemy to buy siege, as you said. So it's only good if you're walling, really, because if you don't wall, well, you enemy doesn't need to kill the buildings. They can just walk around it and kill your villages.
Yeah.
But it's top tier tech if you're planning to build walls.
Yeah. But yet again, it's really not the top priority, because you need both woodworking and plow, probably 1 or 2 unit upgrades, and then probably some post palace tech before opting for the base clay bricks.
Yeah, most definitely.
And finally, we have improved mining, which is, how to put it in good words, not the best technology. Because
Yeah, we don't really like
even if on paper it gives the same as the wood cutting uh, technology, you really don't need the same amount of metal that you need the wood. So for the whole, you don't really need to gather that much metal. And also, it's like when you will start gathering metal, you will send something like 5 villagers on metal, probably never more. So would improved mining will basically give you 2 villager bonus, and the timing at which you start to um, gather metal will be at about 30 villagers. So it's basically plus 2 villagers when you have 30 already. So it's not that not that much of a deal.
Yeah, it's not doing a lot.
Okay. And then if we want to keep talking about the general
Maybe metal
technology.
mining could be more interesting if, for example, metal mining could be mandatory for bronze smelting.
Oh yeah, first, yeah, that could
That
be
would be a flavorful change that
yeah, true.
makes it have a more impact on the game, maybe.
Yeah, for sure. But if you have to research improved mining before taking in bronze smelting, you will then you will research improved mining every game. So
Yeah. But
basically, that will do.
it's fair that yeah, you only if you only want a little bit metal, you can skip the improved mining and just get the basic equipments. But if you're really into Bronze Age, well, you should need a mining tech.
Yeah,
Yeah, it makes sense.
yeah, for sure. Um, then we can talk about maybe wheel, which is the first on, I think, only eco tech post palace. So wheel gives you 1 move speed on the villagers, and allows them to carry 50% more resources. So it makes them basically 50% more efficient in terms of walking time. So every time, if they have to walk 1 minute from their resource to the drop point, which is pretty long to be honest, but let's say 1 minute, they will bring a lot more resources every trip. So it decreases the work time ratio of the gathering.
Yeah, will
So,
is very strong, very good boost to your economy.
and
And
also the work speed is really strong when
yeah, you
it,
can
it
run away
reduces the work time and
from
allows you to run away from enemies.
you can run away from enemies, and It also gives uh, renders you able to build siege rams.
Yeah, true. You need to research this technology for the Rams. And then maybe we can talk about Code of Law, which is another kind of eco upgrade. It gives you 40% villager training speed and allows your village to starve for 100% more longer before losing to starvation. So it's I, I don't really know how to talk about this because on paper it's pretty strong because it allows you to have a faster training speed on your villagers, but um, as your villager count increase, the villager build time decrease. So
The build
basically,
time increases.
the build time increases. Yeah, that's right. So it means that the more you go, you move forward into the game, the less efficient Code of Law will be in terms of villager production.
Yeah,
So
that's the hiccup about it because you see 40% production villager. When I saw it, I was like, damn, that's the greatest eco upgrade of them all. I need it instantly. But if you have 10 villages, your village production is like one villager every 10 seconds. But if you have 40 villages, it's maybe 20 seconds, maybe even more. So it's not doing that much actually.
yeah, it's really good when you are behind because it allows you to when you keep losing villagers to enemy raids, you can repop faster, so it makes you tougher to kill, and also it allows you to starve for longer, which cannot be underestimated because we played the game the other day against Nono, and I had a really good food income because I found tons of animals. So I recruited tons of army, and I have a huge military lead. But then the animals on the map were all dead, so I couldn't have any. I had zero food income left, and then I started starving pretty badly. So I went all the way down to minus 100 food. I almost died to starvation, but I researched Call of Law, and that kind of saved me the game. So that cannot be underestimated.
Yeah,
Um,
it's
starvation.
doesn't see use a lot of time, but it is there. You also
Yeah,
get this use. But
yeah, true.
the most efficient use is definitely the villager production thingy.
Yeah. And then you can maybe talk about bronze smelting.
Yeah, bronze smelting, well, it doesn't do anything for you, right? It's just it just unlocks the next tier of upgrades. So it's like a third tier of units, right? Technically, there's only palace and then after palace, before palace and after palace. But actually, there is also before bronze smelting and after bronze smelting. So,
Mhm.
for example, the swordsman can only be recruited, obviously. But then again, the archer is pretty much the same. They are um, very bad without bronze smelting.
Yeah, because you need you need bronze smelting to buy equipments for the archers, for instance.
Yeah, most definitely.
So bronze smelting is a must-do tech when you move to the game. It's kind of the third age of this game. So first stage is pre-palace, second age is post-palace, and third age is post bronze smelting.
Yeah,
And then we can maybe talk about scribes. So it says Priest generates twice the knowledge. So Priest are the villagers that you garrison into your palace, and every garrison villager in your palace is a priest, and he will generate knowledge passively. So as you can see, Nolo has currently 5 knowledge generation. So it's 3 from his food count and 2 from the priests.
yeah, and
So
it goes to
basically,
seven. It
yeah,
goes
and
to
now that
seven.
he researched um, scribes, it
Scribes.
now goes to 7. So that's, let's say, that's a decent take if, only if it's the first take you do post palace, because it increases food generation, and it's really more effective if you have basically zero food, because if you have zero food and 5 priests garrisoned into your palace, you will have 2 knowledge generation, and if you stay at zero food and have scribes, it will double it. But if you have um, good economy with good food amount stored in your base, it really decreases the efficiency of scribes. So I really wouldn't recommend this technology.
Yeah, it sounds nice, but it doesn't make you
Yeah,
win.
it,
It
it,
just
it,
delays your win.
yeah, because it would take something like four techs to repay for itself
Yeah.
of efficiency. So that's not good. And then we have Apothecary, which is kind of my favorite technology, because it's, I think, really strong. Not for the 50 villager hit points, which is say something good to have, but not really game breaking. But the 300 health regeneration for all units is really good in my opinion, because it allows your unit to heal so fast after a fight. It's really crazy. Like it goes up from 1 health per 4 seconds to 1 health per second. So
Yeah, it's almost 1 per second. It's really
yeah,
good.
really good. And finally, we have organized warfare, which is a 30% increase training speed for military. And this I really don't think you should ever uh, take, because basically, like adding 1 barracks every 3 barracks you have. So it doesn't do much. Like maybe in in very super late game, when both you and your opponent have 10 barracks each, and you have to spam units like crazy. Maybe it could do something, but before then, it's just gives you 100 clay if you have already 3 military buildings. So
I think it's becoming useful once you have very low resource and you have like 30 food all the time and you always need um, an extra 10 food to build your unit. So when you're limited in production this way, the fact that you get it a little bit earlier, maybe if the game is even, it can give you an edge. But yeah, it's definitely one of the lowest impact
yeah, true,
ones.
probably. Yeah, and that's about it for the general technologies. And now we can maybe talk about unit upgrades.
Yeah, sure.
So, unit upgrades. First upgrade is a villager upgrade. So it's militia, and militia makes basically your villager worthwhile fighter. Um, so it gives a melee and attack damage, melee and range attack damage, armor, attack range, vision range when you are close to your village center or your palace. So that's a pretty good defensive technology, and it kind of negates any early aggression from light axes, because militia just kills all light axes that can attack you in your base.
Yeah, militia are really good for 'em. It's not like other strategy games. The militia are actually defending very well.
Yeah. Then we have the Stanger Upgrades, which so basically every unit upgrades makes the unit that it upgrades stronger. So the Elite Stinger, but yeah, so makes it stronger, but also gives them an additional, let's say, mechanic. So, for instance, the Elite
Like
Slingers
this cool
is
effect.
stronger because it's 15% range attack speed, but also gains a slow slow down enemy movements for every attack it does. So basically, when you are kiting or chasing, it allows your slinger to be better at what they already do, which is kite or chase. Then we have the Elite Light Axemen, which are the premium units to counter ranged units. So basically, when you have a Elite Light Axe, it gives you one move speed on the light axes and one armor against ranged attacks. So it really allows your light axes to close in melee range to enemy ranged units. And yeah, that they can force your enemy back pretty efficiently. Then maybe we want to talk about the Jav Thrower.
Yeah, the jav throwers, they're they're a really good range unit that counters other range units because of their range armor and higher damage, basically. But they're also decently good against melee units because they're a little bit bulkier and um, and they have this extra speed that comes from the elite javelin thrower, so they can kite it up a little bit. Their special effect is, yeah, I don't like it much. It does twice the damage against units that are full health, but I think it's really hard to use because you should want to focus fire on units, especially with range units. You are trying to focus fire to take down quickly enemy units, but this effect means that you should try to spread out your javelins to get the maximum damage on several units, right? So it's a little bit counterintuitive. Yeah, I don't really like this. His cool effect.
Yeah, I understand, but the move speed that you gain on the armor against one unique makes the take a must be when you have javelin throwers.
Yeah. But yeah, most of the time, except for Sappers, you should always get that take if you use the unit.
Yeah. Then we have the Elite Archers, which is a really good uh, technology because it gives you 8 attack range. So they go from 16 to 24, which is really uh, like high
It's
range. So
quite the difference, right?
yeah, it made quite a difference. It's like plus 50% attack range. It's really a lot.
Yeah,
Um,
the unupgraded archers are they aren't worth anything. They're not good.
yeah, because they
They
don't do that much damage,
and
and
if they don't have the range, it's they just get caught up and die in melee. They're not good. You need the upgraded archers to do anything at all. And the furnace equipment is perhaps not mandatory, but it's quite required as well.
yeah, for sure. Then we have the elite heavy X-Men. So heavy X-Men are super strong melee units. So basically, they just destroy everyone in melee range. And when
Yeah,
you
they're
go,
super.
yeah, and when you go elite, you first get a +2 attack damage bonus, but also it reduces the enemy attack speed by 40%. So basically, it's kind of double your attack speed compared to enemy unit.
Yeah, they become melee monsters. No, they only the swordsmen they can't take them out, but they're super strong.
Yeah. Then we have the Ellie Spearmans. So heavy Spearmans are really good units against ranged units as of because they are really tanky and have a lot of uh, ranged attack armor. And when you go elite, you get another 3 armor against ranged attack and another 30 health. So basically, it makes them take no damage from any ranged unit. So Slinger does 1 damage to them. Maybe full equip it's maybe 2 damage. Not sure. So it's like 120 hit from a Slinger to
Yeah, 125. Yeah.
yeah. So
Yeah,
that's a lot.
the elite spearmen are very well designed, I think, because they're a very specialist unit. They are not so good in melee, even though well they beat the light axe because they just have that much more HP, but the cost is not effective.
Mm.
But
They
they're
get destroyed
really good
by
against
heavy axe.
range
Also.
units. They don't die. I think the best use for them is just to go raid the enemy and engage the militia, because even with militia, the enemy only does 1 damage to them. So they can take 250 militia hits. That's
That's a lot.
yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah. Then we can talk about the Elite Swordman. So Swordsmen are kind of the end boss of this game.
Yeah,
So they are the strongest unit of the game. No questions asked. Um, and when you go elite, you gain you get another 3 attack damage and also 20% chance of evading attack. So yeah, they're just getting even stronger in fights.
yeah, they will take everybody out.
Yeah, and they also have the most equipment of the game because they get special equipment. They have a shield, they have helmets, they have yeah, they have everything. So.
With full equipment, they have like 6 armor. It's nobody
Yeah,
can take them down. And if you have the apothecary, it's
it's crazy good, and they have
yeah,
tons of HP as well. So yeah, they're just the best units of the game. They're the most costly unit of the game. So it's 70 food plus 15 metal, but yeah, they're just super strong. But they cannot take damage. They cannot do damage against buildings. They do 2 damage, I think, against
yeah,
buildings.
yeah. They can't hit the buildings.
Yeah,
They're super strong against units, but if the enemies are fortified, yeah, you don't do anything.
yeah. And then we have Sappers and Battering Rams. So Elite Sappers just increases the damage of Sappers against walls, gates, and towers. So you only want to get this if you have Sappers and the enemy is full walled, so you can get inside the base.
Yeah, it's important to understand that it doesn't make them stronger against regular buildings. It just makes them stronger against walls and gates and towers. So there are specialist units against fortifications, which is very good against fortification, but they don't. Yeah, they can't fight units, and they are not so good against regular buildings.
Yeah. And then we have the Battering Rams that just give them more hit points, more siege damage, more move speed. So yeah, but I yeah, I'm kind of uh, puzzled about the Battering Rams because on paper they are really strong units, but they don't really do that much. I mean, they cost 150 wood each. That's way too much to be recruited, and you don't really need those. I think.
Yeah, you don't like the battering rams.
No, I don't like it. It's too expensive.
Yeah, I agree. There, you can have 1 supper and 2 farms for the same cost. Why bother? You know,
Yeah,
it's
for sure.
it's strong and it's very tanky, but uh, they're very big and not so mobile, not easy to maneuver in the enemy base. And
Mm. Yeah, but imagine a world if you have like I don't know 20 battering rams and go in base. They're unstoppable, but 20 battering rams is like 3,000 wood. You
yeah,
will never have.
for the cost, you could have 20 swordsmen and just kill
Yeah,
every unit.
or 40 archers.
Yeah.
It's crazy. That's all for this one. Thank you all for watching. Let me know in the comment if you need some clarifications about some things that we said in this video. Bye.